Another month's gone by, and we still don't have the Winds of Winter. Well, George R.R. Martin's out there giving press tours, as he always does. Anything but actually working on the book, it seems like. And it's been a year of just crazy excuses worth mocking, because this guy is never going to finish this book, let's be honest. I will call it right here. He will not finish the book. It will be somebody else after he's dead who does it. There's no way that he does this. He has written himself into a corner. He can't resolve everything. It's impossible. We discussed this on our live stream last night, which is members only. If you want to look at that, Fantasy Author Vox Day and I talked about it in depth. But let's get into George R.R. Martin's excuses here, which are just never ending. He clearly is not working on this. Please hit the like and subscribe button, guys. We talk about all things fantasy here, and I am a fantasy author myself. Would love to have you join us and join our community in everything that we do, and I'd love for you to check out my book series here. If you like fantasy, if you like fun, if you like a war developing that's big and escalates into something even bigger, grab this series. It's a 6-book series, and I do have a 7th about 2/3 done, and then it'll have an 8th probably to conclude it. Sometime in the next 2 years. So good time to get in on this. Lots of reading for you to do. It's available on ebook, print, and audio. It's about an airship crew who's going out swashbuckling adventure. Lots of fun. Not dark like Game of Thrones. I actually don't like George R.R. Martin's work whatsoever. I couldn't get through it. So I try to do something completely different, bring real heroism back, something that series is drastically missing. And I hope you'll enjoy it. It's available on Amazon, like I said. It's good for everybody, the family, adults. Of course, kids love it too. I got a great comment from a reader saying that their 11-year-old is reading it right now, which I appreciate. Yes, grab it today. It makes for a great Christmas gift. It'll be in the description below. And let's get into making fun of George R.R. Martin, who can't seem to write. And so he knows he has a problem. He knows that the storyline really did not set up for a good conclusion. The last couple of books just went crazy with perspective characters, and they became unreadable, in my opinion. And because of that, he hasn't been able to write this. It's been 13 years since he's been promising this book. That's a crazy amount of time, and he's notorious for doing so. So what are some of his excuses this year, my friends? Well, at the beginning of the year, he blamed toxic fans for his inability to do things. This is something that Hollywood does, that the gaming industry does. You see more and more. We see it from the comic industry. It's your fault, fans, for not being supportive enough. Well, it's been 13 years, bro. You don't have any excuses at this point. You should have finished this by now. It's not us that's toxic. It's you that's toxic for not actually doing the work and just complaining about politics all the time. So he goes, toxicity is growing. It used to be fun to talk about our favorite books and films and having spirited debates with fans who saw things different. But it is no longer enough to say I did not like this book or this film, and here's why. People would rather talk about the stuff they hate than the stuff they love, and the delight in dancing on the graves of anyone whose film has flopped. Only the bad films. And of course, there are a lot of bad films out there, which makes it kind of easy. We've seen that all of the major properties out there, the ending of Game of Thrones included, have gone to just crazy crap. And of course, Marvel has destroyed their entire universe. Star Wars has destroyed its entire universe. Star Trek has destroyed its entire universe. You get into fantasy, and the Rings of Power is a disaster and a bastardization of Tolkien. And then Wheel of Time just announced that they're going to be having their 3rd season coming up on Amazon Prime as well. I didn't even know that was still going on. I thought the guy who was playing Matt quit. And so what? How is that even a thing? I couldn't get past the first couple of episodes of that because, again, it just didn't do honor to Robert Jordan's fantasy series whatsoever. It was a disaster. And so, yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about that. There's nothing wrong with that. Make better films. I mean, make them good. Actually do something that actually creates a real spirit of the property and does honor to the property and is authentic to the property. That's all anybody ever asks. The reason the Harry Potter films stand the test of time and actually work and are pretty well are because they actually do follow the books pretty perfectly. And J.K. Rowling finished it, by the way, and finished it in an epic fashion, something that George R.R. Martin cannot do. And so, yes, we like things that we like, and we hate things that are bad. It's pretty simple. But he continued, and in the in September, he went back to his blog. The first half of my year was pretty miserable, and of course, nor did I find much solace in my work. Writing came hard, and though I did produce some new pages of Winds of Winter, I'm going to guess like 2 or 3 pages. I would have liked to have turned out a lot more. So he didn't write all year again, is where it came down to. And he also admitted in the blog that it was kind of Trump's fault, and also admitted in the blog that it was the fact that he was on too many TV sets, paying attention to TV stuff. So anything but working on this property, George. That's it. You would do anything with that. So now he's given a interview to The Hollywood Reporter, which just came out, where, of course, he's been hitting the train about authentic adaptations as well. I think he's kind of not happy with House of the Dragon and how some of that's going. And he can't say it directly, so he talks about Hollywood not being authentic with their adaptations and how it makes things strictly worse than the books, which is true for the most part. And it is, of course, true of his own properties quite a bit. But he spoke with them also talking about whether he's going to finish this book or not. And it seems, again, like he's just not working on things. He said, "Unfortunately, I am 13 years late. Every time I say that, I'm like, how could I be 13 years late? I don't know. It happens a day at a time. A day at a time of just not working on the book and not getting things finished because he knows that there's nothing he can do to make the book work at this point." The guy's 76 years old, and I'm going to be a little honest about this too. Lost his fastball. There's no way he's going to be able to write to the level that he used to, and he knows that. It is something that probably just is a big burden to him. And that's why I think he's just not going to complete it, because there's no way he can come out with this, because it's going to get panned if it does, and he knows it. And that's just going to really just be a disaster for his career. It'd be much better for him to just ignore it until he dies, and then have somebody who's in their prime actually finish it and try to get it wrapped up for him. And I think that is likely going to be what the case is. And so he goes, "It's still a priority. A lot of people are already writing obituaries for me." Very morbid here. They're saying, "Oh, he'll never be finished." Yeah, I agree. Maybe they're right. I don't know. I'm alive now, and I seem pretty vital. Well, you being alive is not really the question here. You being able to finish the actual book is the question here. And from all indications, 13 years, there's no excuse. You should have finished it by this point. Very, very obvious. And so what he said before, earlier this year, he also said that he's finished around 1,100 pages of The Winds of Winter, but the book will require at least 1,500 to be complete. So that's not that far off. 400 pages is about the size of one of my novels, 300 pages, 400 pages. That's a normal novel length, and any normal writer, even at a slow pace, should be able to get that done in 6 months to a year, right? And so that should have been done at this point, and obviously he's just not working on it, again, is the entire conclusion of what's going on here. And I don't think he's going to, like I said. There's no reason for him to. He can make these excuses, say, like, talk about how he's alive and vital. I don't know about vital, George. I don't know if you've, gotten on your Peloton or, gotten your heart rate elevated in any number of years, but hey, you are alive. I will give you that. And so I just don't think this is going to happen, and I've given the reason why, and it's more and more excuses from this guy. It just seems like he was a hack writer who couldn't cut it. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Check out some great fantasy here, guys. You're going to love this series. For Steam and Country. Grab all 6 books. It's on ebook, print, and audio. It's in the description below for you. Thank you for supporting independent works blacklisted by the mainstream publishing industry because they don't want to compete with us, is what it comes down to. We'll be back soon.